All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's try this one more time. Earlier, I tried to do a video talking about the purpose of the U.S. immigration policy established many years ago. A lot of people don't understand that they established this policy to bring in immigrants to assist in the increasing workforce in the United States, such as when the Industrial Revolution was going on and such like that. Of course, you had slaves, and I want to make this very clear. Let me get to that right quick, and I'll get back to what I was talking about. I was talking to an Iranian guy a couple months ago, and he says you should understand as an immigrant. And then there was a discussion on Jeremy Harrell's video where he was trying to compare Mexican immigration with Black Americans. Number one, I'm going to make this very clear. Black people, when I say black people, is what we're identified by the government. Descendants of slaves are not immigrants, and I'll explain that to you. Immigration is when somebody comes here on their own free will from another country to another foreign country. Descendants of slaves or black people did not come here. Immigrants bring their culture, their religion, their food, their flag, their language. Black Americans are descendants of slaves. When you approach me and you're of Hispanic descent, or if you're even Italian or Irish or whatever the case may be, Hispanic, no, I do not relate to you, because African Americans are not immigrants. They were brought here against their will. Then back to the policies. After the cotton gin was invented and the country was growing, we brought in people that would help with our economy. When you say our economy, it means that you bring something to the table, that you're not here to take. It's a give and take. You're here to help the economy, not hinder the economy. And this guy on Jeremy Harrell's wall suggested that so we build a wall and we keep illegal immigrations out. Look, I'm not against immigration if you're bringing something to the table. The thing of the matter is that we need legal immigration, not illegal. If you're illegal, you have nothing to offer. You have nothing to bring to the table. Therefore, it decreases the wealth of the nation, and it increases the deficit of the nation. So you have to have a policy where when you're bringing in immigration to people into this country, they have to be able to offer something, such as Albert Einstein. He was an immigrant who came here and he offered something. He offered many great things. He didn't want it to be used for mass destruction, but he did bring something to the table. Knowledge. You have to have something to bring. That's not 5 kids. That's not you having a job. It's none of that. You know, do I feel sorry for you? Yes. Do I feel bad for you? Yes. But I live in this country, and I grew up almost as bad as you did, no matter where you came from. So when these people talk about, oh, we need to feel sorry for these people, and the United States has always had an immigration policy, we need to think about why we had that policy, is so it would balance out. We had an increasing workforce during an industrial revolution and other things that we've created as far as technology in the 80s and 90s. And we need to bring in more skilled people to come into the country to assist and to take on these jobs. Now, that does not work when you have illegal immigration and there is no jobs to have. There are plenty of Americans, plenty of veterans, plenty of natural-born citizens that don't have a job. They can do those same jobs that you're bringing in. When they were doing the immigration policy, these people that were immigrating here were doing jobs that we didn't have enough people to do. Well, that has changed now. And a lot of people may be upset with me of why that's good, but you have to have a balance. You talk about the deficit. You talk about our increasing debt. When you bring in people with nothing to offer or nothing to bring to the table, you have to take care of them. So now the deficit goes up. Take, for instance, you take in 8 foster kids. You have to sit around before you take in these 8 foster kids to see if you can provide for these foster kids. Or, a long time ago, when Irishmen immigrated to this country, they would bring 6 or 7 kids. And those 6 or 7 kids would bring something to the table because they would work on the farm. Now, I don't see him as Hispanic kids doing that. Matter of fact, I can't even find one to cut the grass. And not just Hispanic, black or white. So you need to be able to bring something to the table. I don't want anybody to take this personally, but this is my take on. Understand how immigration works, why we had an immigration policy, before you start throwing stones on people who want to enforce it. And one more thing I'd like to say. A lot of times, a wall has little or nothing to do with Mexicans, Hondurans, or anybody else in Latin America. There are other people who come across that border, and we all know that the governments in these countries are corrupt as all hell. And there are many people who will pay any amount or do anything to get over here and cause us harm. And if those corrupt governments are paid to sneak them through, they're going to take the money because it's not going to affect them. So those are some other things you need to think about. Just want to educate you people a little bit. I'm sure that a lot of people don't understand when I say that, black Americans, descended of slaves, are not immigrants. But if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I'm Deion Alexander, American First.